Audrey Werro just handed Femke Bol one of the most brutal losses of her 800-meter career. Femke broke a Dutch national record that had stood since 1992, but somehow still finished second. And when you see how tiny the gap was, this rivalry suddenly looks very different. On August 21, 2026, the women's 800 meters at the Lausanne Diamond League gave us one of the tightest finishes of the season. Werro had the home crowd behind her. Femke was chasing another big step in her first outdoor season over 800 meters. And both women arrived with serious form. What followed was not just another Diamond League race. It became a race where two different records fell at the same finish line. Werro went after the race from the start. The pacemaker, Mert van der Schoot, hit 400 meters in 64 seconds, and Werro followed that hard pace instead of sitting back. The official Atletissima report said Werro reached halfway about 2 seconds faster than Jarmila Kratochvilova had during her 1:53.28 world record run in 1983. That opening lap made one thing clear: Werro was not racing only for position. She wanted a fast time in front of the Swiss crowd. But an 800-meter race can punish anyone who spends too much energy early, and that is exactly what made the second lap so tense. Werro kept the lead, but the race started to change. Ethiopia's Saida Chahai moved into the fight and began putting pressure on her. Behind them, Femke stayed close enough to matter. And as the final bend came around, the Dutch star still had one big move left. Werro had already done most of the hard work at the front, but now she was starting to feel that brutal first lap. Femke began closing fast down the home straight. The space between them kept disappearing, and with every step, it looked more possible that Femke could steal the race right at the line. Werro found just enough to hold on. She crossed in 1:55.33, while Femke finished in 1:55.41. The difference was only 0.08 seconds, with Chahai taking third in 1:56.92. 0.08 of a second decided the race, but both of the first two women walked away with something historic. The conditions made Werro's front-running choice even more bold. Atletissima reported temperatures of only 17 to 18 degrees Celsius, yet she still committed to a very fast opening lap. She did not get the smooth second half she wanted, but she stayed composed when Chahai attacked, and when Femke came flying at her in the final meters. Werro's 1:55.33 broke the Lausanne meeting record, while Femke's 1:55.41 became the new Dutch national record. That Dutch record had a huge story behind it. Ellen van Langen ran 1:55.54 when she won Olympic gold in Barcelona on August 3, 1992, and no Dutch woman had gone faster for more than 34 years. Femke finally lowered that mark in Lausanne, but the strange part is that even a national record was not enough to win the race. There is one more detail that makes this even better. Femke had already matched Van Langen's 1:55.54 at the European Championships in Birmingham on August 14, 2026. She reached Lausanne on August 21, 2026, knowing she was already level with one of the biggest records in Dutch middle distance history, then cut another 0.13 seconds from it. And still, Werro was ahead. Werro also took down a recent record of her own. Keely Hodgkinson had set the previous Lausanne meeting record at 1:55.69 on August 20, 2025. Werro lowered that mark by 0.36 seconds, giving the Swiss crowd a home win and another record in a season where she has kept raising the level. The race also showed just how different these two runners are right now. Werro attacked early and tried to control the whole race from the front. Femke was much more patient, then used the speed that made her one of the greatest 400-meter hurdlers in the world to launch a huge finish. After the race, Werro said she felt more tired than usual after competing in the European final on August 14 and racing again in Lausanne on August 21. She was still happy that she found a way to win. Femke came away with a different feeling. More confidence that she belongs with the best 800-meter runners, but also a clear idea of where she can still improve. Femke said she needs to trust herself more after 500 meters, instead of protecting herself too much. That matters because Lausanne was not a race where she got crushed and needed a complete rebuild. She broke a national record and lost by only 0.08 seconds, while still believing she left something in the race. That is the real bombshell from Lausanne. Werro is still winning, but Femke is learning fast enough to make every rematch more dangerous. And when you look at their 4 outdoor meetings in 2026, the change is impossible to miss. Their first meeting came at the Ostrava Golden Spike on June 16, 2026. That was Femke's first outdoor 800-meter race, and Werro won in 1:54.45. Femke finished second in 1:57.13, leaving a gap of 2.68 seconds between them. On June 28, 2026, they met again at the Paris Diamond League. Werro was even faster, winning in 1:53.80, the third fastest women's 800-meter time in history. Femke also made a huge jump, running 1:55.60, which cut the gap between them to 1.80 seconds. Paris was also a warning that the Dutch record was close. Femke's 1:55.60 left her only 0.06 seconds away from Van Langen's 1:55.54. She then matched the record in Birmingham on August 14 before finally owning it alone with 1:55.41 in Lausanne on August 21. In 3 major races, the target went from almost within reach to tied to broken. Then came the European Championships in Birmingham on August 14, 2026. Werro won the title in a championship record of 1:54.81, with Olympic champion Keely Hodgkinson second in 1:55.01. Femke took bronze in 1:55.54, matching the Dutch national record and finishing 0.73 seconds behind Werro. On August 21 in Lausanne, the gap was no longer 2.68 seconds. It was no longer 1:80. It was not even 0.73. It had dropped all the way to 0.08 seconds. That gives this rivalry a simple set of numbers: 2.68, then 1:80, then 0.73, then 0.08. Every time Werro and Femke have raced each other outdoors over 800 meters in 2026, Femke's story is almost the opposite because she is still new to this event. On October 10, 2025, she announced that she would move her focus from the 400-meter hurdles to the 800 meters for 2026. She was leaving an event where she had already become a 2-time world champion and moving into a race that demands a completely different kind of pacing. Reigning world champion Lilian Odira and European 1500-meter champion Georgia Hunter-Bell. It gives both Werro and Femke another major test against some of the strongest names in the event. So Lausanne may have been the warning before an even bigger race. Werro has won all 4 of their outdoor 800-meter meetings in 2026. But Femke has turned a 2.68-second loss into a fight decided by 800ths. Femke broke a 34-year Dutch record in Lausanne and still could not get past Audrey Werro. That sounds brutal, but it may also be the clearest sign yet that this rivalry has changed. Werro is still the woman in front, and Femke is still the one chasing. But if the gap keeps shrinking the way it has since June 16, the next finish may not end the same way.